So my partner Kevin went over what we'd want to be accomplished with the Endangered Species Act being suspended in the case of the Delta Smelt. So I'm going to go into more specifics of why it should be suspended. So basically the court ruling prohibits the use of the Banks pumps, which is in the Trey area. And these pumps are used by the State Water Project and the Federal Central Valley Project. And they basically suck water from the Sacramento-San Joaquin River Delta. And it sends water to all over California, from San Diego to San Jose. And most of it, and all of the water from this pump is used for agricultural or residential uses. And this is actually one contributor to the reason California has such a bad water shortage right now. So according to Jim Beck, who's the general manager of Kern County Water Agency, he says that implementing the plan has reduced the water supplies from San Diego to San Jose by 20 to 30% on average. And if we were to have a really dry year, it could reduce it up to 50%. So right currently, we've had 2 dry years in California for the past 2 years. So, and on top of this court-ordered restriction on pumping, we have a lot less water. So the State Water Project will actually only deliver 15% of the water that water agencies across California have requested for the next year. And Kevin mentioned earlier about how this has affected jobs in the inland area. So the jobless rate within the inland California, that's really been affected by the court-ordered water restrictions. It's up to 14.3% of unemployment. And some towns, like Kevin mentioned, as Mendota, being up to 40%, which is really high. For farming towns up in Northern California, if you've ever been there, almost all of the land is has been dedicated to farming. So if there's not much farming work, there's going to be a serious hit to the economy up north. And that's and actually California has reached 11.6% unemployment. And this is all according to the Wall Street Journal. That they reached 11.6% in July, and that's higher than it's been in 30 years. So another reason that pumping water, as I mentioned before, another reason that pumping water from the Delta is necessary to the well-being of California, and even to the United States as a whole, is that how many farmers reside in California. And California provides produce for the entire nation. So in 2004, according to the USDA, California was ranked #1 for the most crops produced and sold out of any state in the U.S. So if we have a lot less crops, if you use an economic model of supply and demand, your crops are going to be a lot more expensive for price per quantity, which you already have a groceries are already inflating greatly. So that means that, basically, in layman terms, that means food will cost more since we aren't getting enough water to water our crops. So as Kevin mentioned earlier, there was 145,000 acres of land that were either idle, which means that the plants grow but there's no fruit or no crops that could be yielded, or it was under irrigated. And overall that costed $105 million, which is a lot of money and this all comes from California. So so that's a lot of money that California, which we're in a big budget cut right now, so that's a lot of money gone. So another reason that we should suspend the Endangered Species Act for the Delta Smelt is there is no specific indicator of if it's the pumping that's killing the Delta Smelt or if it's another thing that's killing the Delta Smelt. According to Robert Cundy, who is a an assistant engineer manager for the Wheeler Ridge Maricopa Water Storage District. He has to say that there are a number of good reasons to believe that even if state water project pumps were cut entirely, the Delta Smelt may very well go extinct. He says that the court ruling was decided before there was proper studies done, because there are quite a few invasive species that are eating the Delta Smelt, such as salmon. And as Chu mentioned earlier, there is a lot of pesticide in the water, so maybe the pesticide is killing the fish. Maybe it's not the pumps entirely. And also, there was an article published in the New York Times in March 12, 2009, and there's been a population of Delta Smelt that was found over in Liberty Island, which is an island inside the Delta. And it's been completely isolated from the effects of the pumping. The court ordered to stop pumping. So and this population has been thriving. So that means that this population of Delta Smelt has been able to survive by themselves without any court order, without any additional help. So that if we start turn on the pump and start using it again, these Delta Smelt would definitely be able to survive because they've been living the same way.